Showtime, showtime, showtime. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Final Circle. And today we are going to be talking about something very interesting. Today we're going to be circling in on the top 5 esports titles that could blow up in Africa in 2026. Now, we are midway through the year, and we've seen some titles, we've seen some games, we've seen some action all through the year. So, let's lock in. Let's see what titles those could be, in this episode of the Final Circle. First things first, not to shock this out, but honorable mentions. FC, EAFC 25 is huge, from Lagos to Accra, from, local tournaments, all of that, it's always packed, from all of the content that I've seen in this region is absolutely incredible, but the thing is, consoles are expensive, and network latency is a vibe killer. That's just one of the things that EFC, has been dealing with, although we do have the Nigerian servers, but again, matchmaking and all of those things play into effect. Valorant as well, still trying to get its way up, again, PC based, it's tactical, very super competitive, but it needs high-end systems. That's the thing. It still boils down to cost. It still needs expensive systems to run it and stable internet, which still leaves a chunk of the population out of this demographic. So that's just one of those things you gotta look out for. But these are honorable mentions. But now we're going to talk about Call of Duty Mobile. That is going to be number 5 on the list. Now, Call of Duty Mobile already has a solid base, in the ecosystem. So you can't even deny how impressive Call of Duty is. Tournaments are popping up left and right. I think we have the Carry First tournaments going on right now. That's something we have to key into. The World Championships now has a spot for Africa for the first time ever. So Carry First has been hosting regional qualifiers. We've had one from Ghana, we've had one for Kenya, we've had one for South Africa, I believe. But again, so Call of Duty Mobile, amongst that tournament, there's others popping up all over the region. So that should tell you that 2026 is going to be a major year for Call of Duty Mobile. So if you're not locked in, now would be the time for you to be locked in. Number 4 would be Mobile Legends, MLBB. SCA, Southeast Asia already turned, Mobile Legends into its household name. Africa is getting a taste too, especially in the Francophone countries. It's 5v5, fast-paced, and made for touchscreen. So now, I do think we have other titles that fall into this category, like Dota 2, League of Legends, but those ones are more on the console side, on PC side of things. So you always gotta, be very astute in your observations. But for Mobile Legends, it's not all about console, it's all about mobile. So that includes a majority of the population that can get themselves their hands on a mobile device, and they can compete, they can participate. So I think Mobile Legends is also one of those games titles you also want to look out for esports wise coming into 2026. It's a major step in the right direction if you do want to get a piece of that Mobile Legends action. Number 3 would be Free Fire. It's undeniable, Free Fire is thriving in low-end device zones, so that makes it in the top 3. And it's also one of those games that it's battle royale, it's fast-paced, but the player base is absolutely incredible. I think they have the most amount of players in this side of the region, and it's absolutely incredible. But then again, it's always to the fact that it runs on low-end devices smoothly, comfortably. You can enjoy playing Free Fire on these devices, and that is, it doesn't necessarily give one person an advantage over the other because of the device. I think everyone gets a fair chance of participating in a title like this. And again, you always have to be very, very clear with how you participate, but Free Fire does an amazing job of including the most participants it can. For a battle royale franchise, it's absolutely incredible. So Free Fire will be one of those ones to look out for that would explode in 2026. Number 2, PUBG Mobile, of course, as the hat says, already one of the most followed games in Africa. Strong teams, passionate fans, and the real tournament potential, but again, the only thing I would say about PUBG Mobile that hasn't been talked enough about is the Free Fire thing. Free Fire is very, very, like I said, it thrives on low-end devices. It feeds those grassroots level athletes that want to make it out but do not have the facilities for the high end or the higher level mid-range devices. That is where PUBG Mobile may have a little bit of trouble breaking in, because the title has been in existence for a significantly long amount of time. But with time, it's less and less and less low-end to mid-range devices that can actually handle PUBG Mobile to a competitive degree. But outside of that, it is still one of the most fun and engaging and high stakes esports titles that we have in today. And in 2026, I still believe with more better dev options and better servers, they could be the biggest game of 2026. And last but not least, number one on the list, Clash Royale, or you call them Brawl Stars. Surprised? I don't think you should be surprised, because these games are fast, they do not eat data, and they don't need super phones. Again, that is where it is all key, you know, fast, doesn't eat data, and doesn't need high-end devices. Checking all three boxes, you know, perfect for the gold competitions in African cities, esports gold mine waiting to happen. It's just a matter of all the things falling into the right place like they have for other titles before, you know, these titles can get their chance in the spotlight. And I expect that to be the case in 2026 with the right amount of marketing, you know, sponsorships and all things coming through. I think Clash Royale or Brawl Stars could be the #1 title in 2026. All the things, everything just has to fall into place for them. But you know, but yeah, that would be something of a sight to see in 2026. Tell me, what do you think? Did your favorite title make the list, or is there a sleeper game we all forgot? Well, next week we're going to have some more intense competitions. We'll keep our eyes peeled and keep you guys locked in. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Final Circle. We'll see you on the next episode.